Sorry, sir. The call just came in. We're to place you under arrest.
What kept you?
Hope you've had some time to contemplate your actions, Havoc.
Won't happen again, I swear.
Yes. Well, good. Your old Special Forces team, the Dead Six, just got back from Peru with some disturbing information. This is surveillance video from GDI's R&D base in Guatemala. The Black Hand launched an attack on the facility and captured our top 3 Tiberium research specialists. Dr. Ignacio Mobius, his daughter, Sydney, and Dr. Elena Petrova. The rest of the staff was executed on the spot. These video captures were taken from the same surveillance tape. We've been able to identify this man. His name is Mendoza. He's a former operative for the Sword of Chagall, an extremist wing of the Colombian separatist movement. Now, he's the Brotherhood's most dangerous assassin. We've never seen this man before. We do know that the supreme commander of the Black Hand is a general named Ravishore. This might be our first look at him.
Pee-wee and I have already met.
He's a cold-blooded killer, and Havoc, if Ravishore is involved, this operation may have been ordered by Kane himself. We've discovered where Ravishore has taken our scientists. Your orders will be delivered en route.
I'm on it.
Havoc, one more thing.
Sakura.
Did you know that your ex-squad member had joined the Black Hand?
She's a mercenary. She follows the money.
As long as there isn't any conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest? No. I got interest in conflict.
Havoc, locate the Nod base facility and recover the scientists. Here's a Humvee to get you started.
Oh, welcome back, Commandos. So Havoc seems to have had a rather interesting relationship with past squad mates. Or at least one of them. For those who may have already pieced it together, some of the units or people that we were encountering in the tutorial also belong to that Dead Six group.
Looks like Nod has an officer coordinating reinforcements in that guard tower. Eliminate all resistance and occupy the tower.
If I haven't mentioned it already, and if it's not apparent, the machine guns on certain vehicles, well, they use, physicalized projectiles, in the sense that it takes time for it to travel and hit its target. It's a little tough to get the hang of the machine guns, whether it's on Nod buggies or Humvees, etc., just because of, well, you don't really have a zoom function.
The helipad is down. Nice work, Havoc. Objective secure. Nice one, Havoc. Keep an eye out for additional reinforcements.
I'm pretty sure we've seen both types, but just in case, there are 2 of those yellow disc pickups that you can get. One of them being the data link for the map, which again is particularly useless. And you can also find some data pads that kind of expand upon units and items within the world of Renegade. Also, being able to pick up stuff while in a vehicle is a rather nice feature.
houses across the bridge. Eliminate all resistance and occupy the houses.
In general, I like these set pieces. The fact that you can come out onto a fairly large map, or at least a large section within a map.
Enough resistance to go around. Take whatever supplies you need. Anything you can do to help.
Report in.
Was that Troy Baker? In any case, because of the large sections of these maps and how open it can feel or be, it can be a lot of fun just to see how the developers put everything together. The only problem really is that while the set pieces are nice, they kind of don't really play to your advantage, especially at harder difficulties. Now, admittedly, I've never played this on an easier difficulty than Commando because I like to torture myself, especially with games that I may not necessarily be very comfortable with. But that being said,
all enemy resistance in the area must be eliminated to secure this objective.
That being said, you can see how it's problematic if you don't take out the officers. And sadly for me, you don't really get notified where those officers are. I'm sure there's other games that may have done it a little bit better, where an officer or someone that could call in reinforcements might have a visual ping on the radar, or perhaps a better way to call them out. Maybe the closer you get, the more you hear their radio transmissions, or just casual conversation. And so when you don't kill officers, they just constantly respawn. And the same doesn't apply to friendly
all
troops.
Enemy resistance in the area must be eliminated to secure this objective.
So what ends up happening is whatever set piece troops exist, on the GDI side at least, are almost guaranteed to be one-time only use, for lack of a better term. So they only have one life, you never really replenish units, and you end up with these sorts of problems. Now, the other issue here is strictly with the structuring of the secondary objective, namely...
Excellent pace, Havoc. Make sure both buildings are secure.
Your boys aren't helping much. You're gonna need more.
Yeah, and we don't get more, sadly. But the improper, quote-unquote, structure of this map, or the objectives, makes it so that you can't actually liberate House B without first getting the second one, and here it seems to refer to them backwards. Now, I don't know which one, at least, I don't think even the map points out which one is which. Oh hey, my guide does say which one is which. So, the mission has it wrong. Not quite sure how that happens, but regardless.
This is Bulldog 3, engaging non-armor. They got one of our orcas, Havoc. You can take them with...
I'm not quite sure what the rest of that message is supposed to relay. Not that it really matters, because we have a Mammoth tank. We can just blow everybody up. So Mammoth tanks can be rather abusive in how you use them. Essentially, they are the be-all, end-all for attacking something. The main cannons that they have reload faster than, I believe, every other vehicle. Not counting machine guns, of course, but I don't really feel like that's in the same category. As well, the rocket launchers that the Mammoth has makes it so that it's incredibly easy to take out any infantry, which would either require multiple close-range hits
resistance in the area must be eliminated to secure this objective,
or a direct hit from one of the cannons. The rockets just make it very simple. If it's within an even larger area than a normal cannon shell, then you're completely fine ruining their day, so to speak. The other benefit, too, of the Mammoth tank, that is that, much like the strategy games, Mammoth tanks do regenerate their hull points. I don't quite know the mechanics as to if there's a limit to how much it can regenerate, whether that's over time or just in a specific sequence. If it only happens below a specific health, or if there's something else that may be attached to it. And as always, there's no real issue with taking out friendly units.
I've covered, sir.
I've never had anything other than just being cautioned about it. I'm not sure if there's a fail state. And unlike the Humvees or not buggies, everything else in this game is painfully slow. Light tanks on the Nod side are quick as well. However, they suffer from turning issues, and we'll see that later.
I get the feeling I'm gonna need more of those.
One thing that should also be mentioned in the case of tanks is that the main cannons, as well as the rockets really, do have a maximum distance that munitions can travel.
SAM site
Rocket
destroyed.
launcher ammunition coming down.
I'm not quite sure what happened to that Nod buggy there, but I'll take a free kill. Now, if there is one major downside to the Mammoth tank, it's that, well, it's just not very accurate. Now, obviously, it's not that hard to track if you're shooting left or right barrel, as they always alternate. The problem ends up being how to calculate where the round is going to hit specifically as you change barrel, and what the offset really means for you.
Is on the other side of this hill. Take the dirt road past the guard towers.
Missiles also have some interesting ways of traveling. It's not very clear to me exactly how the, for lack of a better term, pathfinding works for it. Just that they do seem to curve over certain, like a distance. So you can't shoot over some obstacles, and the missiles will curve back towards where you're aiming, but it's a lot harder to divine where exactly your rounds are going to hit. Normally the other Mammoth tank that is sitting here lasts a little bit longer than it did. And not having armor is kind of ruining my day right now. If that wasn't problematic enough, the drops that units do don't last forever. So you're screwed if you don't really move too quickly. It's pretty cheeky to have units behind these buildings. And you have to hit pretty close for you to do anything against them. The last major thing that really needs to be pointed out, especially in the case of vehicles, is that there's no way to repair them. Mammoth tank is the exception, obviously, but light tanks, medium tanks, etc., any damage that occurs in single player is permanent. There are no engineers that walk around helpfully taking care of your ride.
SATCOM shows another SAM site nearby. Watch for engineers repairing it.
And since you can't repair, you end up having to do duels like that, really.
SAM site
One SAM
destroyed.
down, Eva shows 2 to go. Good job.
I think one of the unfortunate downsides of the way that these missions are structured, at least in the way of objectives, is nothing ever really truly informs you as to what benefit you have doing the secondary objectives. Sure, there's gimmies like destroy SAM sites. Obviously it's to allow for air assets to do things. But you don't really get that same sort of feedback when it's take out or secure a building on a ski hill. Also, I can only imagine what caused that Apache to nosedive into a bridge. Honestly, I think it might have been part of something else that was just never fully realized. I'd imagine that was supposed to take out the bridge, but that's not the case, obviously.
This bridge is flanked by SAM sites. We're not getting anywhere near that area until they're gone.
SAM site destroyed.
And yeah, if it wasn't annoying enough that you have helicopters to deal with that you can at least shoot down, and cargo planes that you can't, some units just phase into existence. It's rather frustrating when you have vehicles, or if you're low on HP, and suddenly trying to move back towards a safe haven of sorts just doesn't really work out that way.
SAM site
It's
destroyed.
a pleasure to see you at work, Havoc. SATCOM shows you're approaching the base.
Apparently shooting canceled that voice line, and I can't figure out why. Also, I could go get that medium tank, but it's not really worth it at this point in the mission.
The dam is a non-power plant which supplies power to the other buildings in the area. Your work will be a lot easier if you destroy it.
How am I supposed to get over there?
Havoc, EVA SATCOM indicates the power plant has elevator access from the base of the dam.
That's the info I needed, Buck. Thanks.
I have to imagine that the range limit on the vehicles is to maybe prevent having two shots in the air at the same time. Otherwise, it seems a little strange to prevent, you know, tanks from shooting up until it hits an actual obstacle.
The Nod obelisk is being repaired internally. External destruction is not possible.
Also, I have to be honest, obelisks of light are just a lot more threatening in the strategy games.
Good, you made it inside. EVA indicates the dam's master control terminal controls the large bay door on top. Find the master control terminal and destroy it.
Now, you could have gone into that elevator and taken out the master control terminal for the dam, unlock the door, and proceed with the mission. The problem is, though, is that there's still an obelisk of light out there. So instead, we're going to go to the power plant, take that out, and then come back to the MCT. Have I mentioned how big these maps are? Also, I feel like it's already been mentioned in the thread, but yes, there is a problem with the UI, in that I don't think it's really designed for a 1920 by 1080 resolution. Also, yes, I did have to jump and hit E while looking directly at that specific display in order to get the elevator to go down.
Check in. Check in.
Intruder! Stop him!
This is engineering. What's going on up there?
If only there was a line for Havoc to ask how their day was going. As one might assume, flamethrower units just aren't really affected by their own weapon. Yeah, I thought that power plants might look a little different from
That's enough,
this.
Havoc. Good work. With the power plant down, that obelisk is no longer a threat.
Also, I have no clue where that's supposed to lead. It's a shame how the maps are built. They feel like they don't flow too well at times. For example, I think it would have been a better idea to have either a staircase or even an elevator that might take you up to the far side of the dam, right next to where the obelisk of light is, because you shut off the power, so it opens up that route, so to speak. Now, I do understand the argument that if you bypass, say, the MCT like I did in the dam, then you're potentially making it a little bit more lengthy to do this entire sequence. But regardless, it seems like a weird idea not to have it be the case. The shortcut at the far side of the dam, that is. And yeah, sure, there's an elevator just over this wall, but you still need to walk, halfway through the dam to do anything about it. I guess at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that there's some potential time save, but not really good time saving. Also, this MCT weirdly got way more resistant against flamethrowers about halfway through its HP bar.
That's got it. The bay door should be open now.
I'm a little disappointed there wasn't like some form of sign at the bottom of the dam that maybe something had gone wrong with the control terminal.
I'm good, thanks.
You're
We're
welcome.
all clear. What? Did you see Nod?
There's also no real good indicator that the obelisk of light isn't powered. Obviously, there's no sound from it, so if you get too close, then you'll know. It seems weird that it's not a little bit more visible. And I'm only doing this because I haven't looked at the interior of a obelisk at this point. Probably nothing to really see further down. And despite being able to pick up guns and doing whatever in a vehicle, you can't open doors. So yeah, sometimes your augmented armor and health pickups are just kind of out in the open. And other times you have to actually do things to acquire them. Can you imagine this is still just one mission? No loading bars, no nothing. All things considered, for the timeline of this game, it's pretty nice. Some people in the thread have been bringing up comparisons to Halo, and while I've been playing the Master Chief Collection quite a bit since its release on Steam anyways, it's an interesting comparison.
131. Foolishness always results when the tongue outraces the brain. Formulate your words clearly before speaking.
I can't tell if that advice is for Havoc or me. Well, getting back to the comparison, I think it's interesting. Halo may not be as colorful in a way, especially looking at Xbox, original Xbox visuals of Halo. It seems to be more flat. One has to also wonder if Renegade would have had a better showing if Halo wasn't released at the time it was.
Eliminate the 3 machines to hamper non-Tiberium research. I'm picking up some strange readings, Havoc.
Now, granted, Renegade was also delayed, I believe, several times, so maybe it just wasn't meant to be.
That cave appears to be a...
Also, picking up a gun cancels out Locke's speech. Also, I think we can determine that the rocket launcher is better than tanks insofar as the rocket launcher, its projectile, doesn't ever have a self-destruct feature on it. I'm also not quite sure why an Apache would fly down, well, whatever this is, in order to die? Also, be honest, the rocket launcher looks a lot like the flak cannon from Unreal Tournament, doesn't it? I can't really see anything else every time I look at it. Like, unless I'm confusing it with the goo gun, which I think it's just called a slime gun. Regardless, it's definitely got that look to it. Also, sadly for me, I haven't used the ion cannon yet, so that be something to check out if you yourself have used it. Now, I believe there's a chance for Havoc to turn into a Viceroy. It didn't work there. It's also interesting how Tiberium affects armor first before HP. Not really sure I like it. I think if anything, Tiberium's just very strong to begin with in how much it deals damage to you. It might make a little bit more sense to do damage slower, but only to your health. Also, if you're curious, yes, you can hear the screams of your enemies through the microphone built in on the sniper rifle. The chem sprayer and the flamethrower are basically the same weapon. Only difference is that the chem sprayer, I believe, is actually effective against flamethrowers, and vice versa, as well as the chemical sprayer being able to convert units into Viceroids. It makes it a little annoying to use. especially if you're playing at harder difficulties where, well, as we've seen with Viceroids before, they can be pretty nasty with their spray.
You'll encounter less enemy resistance if you destroy the Hand of Nod. Remember where the Master Control Terminal is?
I know this drill all too well.
Also, this game's going to make it a habit of having rocket launchers at higher elevations, so keep an eye out for it.
Watch for snipers.
To deal with
Oh, hey, look, a civilian. I guess they managed to convince this guy to work for him. Well, better not get him mad or anything.
Watch your friendly fire, Captain.
That line works on so many levels. Also, yes, the chefs are units that you're not supposed to shoot, although they will shoot at you. There's no penalty to killing them, but you can die to them rather easily.
What was that?
At first, I never realized that you could actually break the glass in these two rooms. Specifically, their interrogation rooms. And so, it was kind of an enlightening moment when I saw it the first time. And somehow this Hand of Nod has an ion cannon beacon. Well, can't have more than one, so might as well use it.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good show, Havoc. That should slow them down some.
Somehow, even being in the building being destroyed, you're completely fine. I'm not sure how to take this in light of every CNC strategy game I've ever played. If you're wondering, yes, it is annoying to use elevators in this game. Somehow.
This door requires level 1 security clearance.
Alright, guess I'm going up. I seriously don't understand why there's not like a bar or something at the sides of the entrances. Also, it's rather pointless for this game to give you the green cards so that you can go through the doors that were previously blocked, and we'll see why rather quickly.
Looking good. You're so dead. Oops. Incoming.
Something tells me they should have different music in this part. Now, there's a few things about this ending here. First, you can run to that cargo plane and win. There's absolutely no problem. Just jump off the building and go straight to it. but that's the boring way to do things. So
This
we're
door
just gonna
requires level 1 security
slowly
clearance.
walk down a building.
And you! I stand before you now! Kill me if you can!
That's Mendoza, by the way.
I don't think you have what it takes!
And his audio goes away when we look at him. I don't know. There's a lot of mysterious things I don't quite get sometimes. Why destroying the airstrip is a tertiary objective, why there's no mention of it, how you're supposed to know these things, and what point does it have is all a mystery. Try not to figure it out. It doesn't end well. And because there's no reason to fight Mendoza, you just, ignore him.